are going to talk about safety problem with elderly drivers.
And I'm going to introduce about this problem to you guys and summarize the whole presentation and conclude it in the end.
And I'm going to introduce about the solutions for these problems, and I'm going to make up the discussion with you guys.
And I'm going to talk about technological solutions.
First, I will show you guys a clip. So, this accident looks pretty scary, isn't it? It actually is made by an elderly driver. Elderly driver naturally and inevitably loses his or her physical ability, which includes extremely important things in driving, like reaction velocity or judgment. So they eventually make many car accidents, especially the serious one, which can drive people to death. Now, according to an article, this was the letter elderly, but I think it's broke. The 15% of the recent traffic accidents is made by elderly drivers, and one of three of fatalities is made by elderly drivers. So, because of these circumstances, some of the elderly drivers are willingly returning their driver license. However, it depends solely on their driver's will, so it cannot be a fundamental solution for a problem like this. The many accidents is caused by them and many people are dying by them. So from now on, we'll take a closer look on this problem and we'll propose some fundamental solution I think is the best. So this is the contents of our presentation. The first introduction, which is already done. And we'll talk about present situation in Korea, how many elderly drivers are living in Korea, and problem about taxi, which is drove by elderly drivers. And we will show two types of solutions. First, the institutional solutions. So we are going to talk about solution for normal people and taxi drivers. And for last, we will talk about technical solutions, which includes the VR contents and autonomous driving skills. Let's take a look about the present situation.
And one of the first biggest problem is the proportion of elderly drivers are getting more bigger. Korean society is having more than 14% of elderly people, and this is a huge amount of those people. So, along with that increase in total elderly people population, the driver proportion is also getting bigger. So the potential threat of those traffic accidents are getting bigger. And also, this is the second point that I want to point out, is that although it is not a public transportation yet, the taxi industry is having a big amount of the total transportation amount, and there are many problems of taxis, such as they are refusing to drive you in the short distance, or also they are having a big problem with those sharing services such as Uber or Tata and etc. And in this situation, and more drivers, especially the elderly drivers, are after they retire, they are joining this industry as a taxi driver. And this means that there is also a huge amount of elderly drivers in this industry. So we should especially point out the problems about this situation, because they also have the potential threat to the traffic accidents. So I'm gonna introduce about the solutions in the institutional perspective. So for the normal people, including all of the population in Korean society, we are recommending these policies, such as we have to increase the incentives for returning the license. In now, the elderly are able to use the public transportation, such as subway or bus, for free. But when those policies are done with this incentive for driving license, such as giving an incentive for the transportation fee, so we think that we should not use that service more. So we have to change the welfare service and also increase the incentive for those who are returning the license. And second, we want to make it hard to regain the license, which means that they have to regain their license in a specific period, and we think we should make it harder to apply or be qualified after the test. And especially for the taxi drivers, we are having a more strong strategy, such as giving an age limit. This is a very controversial problem, because many are driving as a taxi driver after they are retired. However, the problem of the possibility of traffic accidents are going bigger as they are growing and being older. So we think it is one of the systems to protect from the safety problems from now.
Hi guys, I'm Hyunmin Lee, and I'm going to talk about technological solutions. In many companies that develop some technologies related to driving, lots of technologies have been emerging from R&D part. And I'm going to talk about some good technologies that can be applied to solve this problem. First one is using VR content for educating people. Nowadays, there is VR content that make people feel like they are driving under the influence, which is 운전자, to make people be aware of the danger of it. By experiencing this, people will get to know how hard it is and how dangerous it is to drive under the influence. And these thoughts will make them promise to themselves that they will never drive under the influence. Unlike driving under the influence, it is not illegal for the elderly people to drive. But we can produce VR contents that adopt the characteristics of the elderly people, like reaction time increases and their body changes and the sight is stalled. And this content will make people think that a lot of conditions change when they get old, and they will be aware of the danger of it. Second one is adopting autonomous driving skills. Many automobile companies are developing autonomous driving skills for various reasons. To make self-driving car, or to improve the level of safety, or provide driving pleasure. And lots of technologies are already available now. So we could use these technologies to solve this problem. And I'm going to introduce you two technologies that can be applied to solve this problem. And first one is lane keeping assistance system, which is called by LCAS. It works to keep you in your lane by gently steering you back if you begin to drift out of it. And it is easily cancelled by nudging the wheel. And as the number of accidents caused by elderly people violating the center line is increasing, LCAS can be helpful to prevent violating the center line. And second one is driver attention learning. It will help monitor driving patterns in order to detect reckless or fatigued driving patterns and prevent potential accidents. If system detects inattentive driving attention, an audible sound or message on the display panel will bring this to the driver's attention. So many car accidents occurs because the driver did not pay enough attention to the driving. So it is not exception for the elderly people. I think driver attention learning system can be helpful for preventing accidents caused by this reason.
Okay, so for conclusion, we are proposing the solution to solve the problem of elderly drivers. First, we are trying to educate drivers by our education system, and we think we should give incentive for returning the license. For second, for taxi, we think we should limit maximum age of drivers and working hours of the drivers. For last, we think adopting autonomous driving technology can be helpful for elderly drivers, such as lane keeping assist and etc. Thank you.
So now is the discussion time, and the first question we are going to provide is that should individuals prioritize over the societal safety and welfare, which means that limiting the